People think China has no freedom.
China freedom vs US freedom, which one do you like? We are always taught that freedom is the highest value. But have you ever stopped to think, when freedom has no boundaries, does it really mean liberation or just chaos? Think about it, you have the freedom to own a gun, but that also means kids are doing active shooter drills at school and parents live with constant fear. You have the freedom to smoke weed, but then you're also dealing with more strangers on the streets who are spaced out and unpredictable. You have absolute freedom of speech, but that turns social media into a mess of rumors, hate, and online bullying, tearing society apart. We've gotten so focused on my rights that sometimes we forget about our responsibilities. Now let's flip the map for a second and look at China. The idea of freedom works on a completely different system. Sure, in China, you can't casually talk about splitting up the country or certain political issues. But when it comes to everyday life, if your street light is broken, your social insurance isn't handled properly, or a government office gives you bad service, you can file a complaint and it actually gets handled. They've got apps, hotlines, online platforms where your complaint goes straight into the system. And here's the kicker, those complaints get tracked and local officials are judged on whether they fix them. So while you might not have total freedom in big picture politics, you do get a system that's super responsive to your daily life. It comes down to values. Now, America chooses individual liberty first, even if it means society pays the price in safety and division. China chooses collective stability and security first, and within that framework, people still get plenty of personal freedom as long as it doesn't break public safety or development. And those cameras you see everywhere in China, a lot of Westerners call it surveillance. But ask most regular people there, and they'll tell you it feels more like protection, because it means walking home late at night feels safer. Petty crime and robberies are solved quickly since the risk of getting caught is so high, and that's why China has one of the lowest homicide rates in the world and one of the strongest feelings of public safety. So here's the question, can we really keep saying that absolute personal freedom is always the best answer? If freedom means you're scared to send your kid to school, worried about strangers on the street, or stuck in a toxic online space, is that still freedom? Maybe China's system gives us something to think about. Freedom isn't just the right to do whatever I want, it's also the right to live without fear, without chaos, without losing basic order in your daily life. In China, maybe you can't speak up about everything, but you can walk safely at night, let your kids play without fear, and count on systems that keep life running smoothly. That's another kind of freedom, one that's focused on real results. China's success in lifting 800 million people out of poverty in just 4 decades is seen as a bigger form of freedom than arguing endlessly on social media. You know, the US tariff war has been hurting not just China, but every country in the world. At the end of the day, yes, free speech matters, but what we need even more is freedom to do business, freedom to trade. And if you're ready to join me in building global free trade with China, reach out, let's talk.